Alright, so let's see what's going on here. Maps. So you got quite a few maps for us. Ilios and King's Row. Maybe we'll just do those two because both great maps with very different play styles generally. You play off tanks.
Okay. Alright, boys, pop off.
So bot is first scrim between us, 2.7, and a low Masters team. That's quite a difference there.
Yeah, the Pepega.
Looking to improve on my medical.
Did you
Awareness, Zarya, defensive positioning. Okay, let's see how right you are.
We have a Risa Hog, we don't really need to.
Fairs.
They have a Hanzo.
They also have a Risa Hog.
Just for what your team said, even if you do have a Risa Hog, it can never hurt you pretty much to be there first.
Yeah, he has one.
No, keep shield there, keep shield. Break shield, break shield, break shield.
The exact same comp as us. What is this?
Dude, it's the meta.
For this map, yeah, pretty much is the meta.
Hanzo, shoot some shields. Oh my god.
Yeah, give me a second.
McCree on the left, focus, focus,
So
focus.
you know you don't have a shield right now at all, and you just turn your back or your side to...
McCree on the left.
So right here, what map are we on? I'm not gonna worry about showing you on the map, we don't need to stress about that. So but right here, so think about all the damage sources that can hit you right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll say that there's only 4 over here because I think the 5th was like over in Lighthouse. So we're not going to stress about that exactly. But so, you know the McCree can shoot you. While that would have been a nice kill on the McCree, you have 4 damage sources here, including a hog with a hook and an Arisa orb to pull you even closer this way that can all deal damage, and you only have 600 health. There was no way you were going to live this as soon as you went for that McCree. And you have to ask yourself, am I going to be more valuable or is that pit going to be more valuable? And it should always be you.
Left, focus, 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 McCree. Got him? Oh, I'm dead. Unlucky.
I'm speeding out, I'm speeding out. Come out, come out.
You've never had a Taco Bell? Dude, I don't know. I don't get why people always say Taco Bell.
No,
is like,
Arjun,
destroy
we're getting
someone.
the fuck out of here, you retard.
I have high moon. I have high moon.
Moon.
Yeah, they were
Coordinate
just
halt hook.
busting.
Coordinate halt hook.
William.
Wait, why don't we go left? Why don't we go left?
Thanks, Senpai. I like that, and all high moon.
All the way left. All the way left. All the way left. All the way left.
Alright, listen to Mason. Listen.
Set up at the edge of the well. You ready? Here we go. We go.
Break shield. Oh. Hanzo top right.
That's not. Yeah. Yo, shield.
Okay. Regroup.
Yeah.
I had him.
So your main damage died right away, and then your second damage died shortly after, and you were still this far up. All you did was feed ults there.
I had him.
Massive shield break. Because they're Hanzo.
Arjun, go soldier.
Shoot the shield.
What?
No, stay. Okay. Mason called it. Go soldier.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. And then see if you can get high ground behind us.
Soldier can be an interesting pick on this map because he's kind of going to be we are dominating and we want to win easier hero, but like he's not going to generally be able to survive on the point alone, so calling for that at 70% is a little bit scary.
Yo, Hanzo on the mini. Nice. No, we reset. Actually, no.
Like when your team was calling McCree here, do you even know like where exactly the McCree was?
Yo, Hanzo on the mini. Nice. No, we reset. Actually, no. Come over here.
Mason,
Play back.
Yeah.
call my beat, okay? Call my...
Okay.
Mason, call his beat.
Honestly, I don't know how badly.
Based off your team's comms, I'm assuming that you do most or all of the calling for them, which puts you in an interesting spot. Like you calling your Lucio's beat can be really tough because
Lucio dead.
you're not going to see everything that they see, just like he's not going to see everything that you see. But being the off tank, generally speaking, your supports are going to have a better idea of the overall battle.
The beautiful, awesome hits and poly hits.
Here, move your shield a little bit so we use this house as cover.
Thinking,
That's a good call.
Just next time you get it. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, call me when you want to speed me.
A lot of bullets will get caught on the house.
Well, they're coming to me, I think.
Yeah,
They don't see you. They don't see you. They don't see you. Oh man.
Recorded.
Hey, I don't. How did they hear me?
They didn't hear you. They just went that way. And you were
So check this out right here.
Did they?
You've seen that they've rotated over here. Okay? So your team has three choices. Go back this way. That's not the best arrow because it's a little bit confusing. Go back behind like this pillar here. Go back like near the lighthouse here. Or rotate over to their side. Or, four choices really, rotate over here to fight them. Because of your comp and the fact that you're down there, McCree, I would not want to see you rotate up here at all. And I realistically wouldn't want to see you rotate over here, because when you would do that, it's really to create more space for your team, and you don't really need that. And so it would just kind of be a waste of time. So you can rotate back to the lighthouse just fine, or back behind this wall over here, and either would be fine, but I don't like the fact that you stood in the middle where you are now, because you know that they're going to break your shield first. You're down in DPS. You know that they're sitting here, so you're not going to get a pull that far into the well, but they can definitely get a pull this far into the well. And so really you're putting yourself in unnecessary danger by still standing here. As soon as you saw them here, you needed to call for your team to go back left or back right.
They don't see you.
Like, it's crazy that you're right here
Oh man.
and staying here.
Hey, I don't. How did they hear me?
They didn't hear you. They just went that way. And you were
And you almost didn't get behind this wall. Well, you didn't. He just didn't hold the high noon long enough to kill you.
Dude, they just said our play.
Especially if that's your team's play that you guys do a lot. You guys should know how to counter it.
Fine, we even the
Yeah,
point.
so did we though.
Yeah, but.
Are you kidding me? Fucking Hanzo, dude. I'm retarded. Okay, it's fine. I'll speed back.
Walking down the middle like that, like their Hanzo could have just farmed you for his ult if he didn't already have it. Thankfully for you guys, I think he has his dragons.
Alright, go. We go. I'll use ult for shield break. Just push him. Shield.
Break shield.
Touch point. Nice.
I would have loved to hear your team call out who can touch,
I know.
because that's going to change the way everyone plays. You really need, you know, one of your faster heroes, like your soldier, or even if your Orisa is close enough, whoever, it doesn't really matter, to call out that they are going to be the ones to touch, so that you, if you watch any sort of contenders game, someone will always call it they're the one to touch, so that people know
Get left again.
that someone can actually touch. Because otherwise, if you just hear touch, you might assume someone else is going to touch.
On the left side.
Alright, just break the shield when you see it. Go. On just one.
You threw a hook when you were already less than half health. I'm thankful you didn't get melted there, but you definitely could have.
He's peeking the house inside.
He got nano. Keep breaking shield.
Where's the shield? Oh, you got killed. Okay. Yeah, this might be it. Unlucky. Yeah, I mean we gave him a good fight, so.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a good fight. Then.
It was a good fight when you consider that you guys are 700, I think it was.
Yo, for like Masters.
2.7 to 3.5. Yeah, 700.
West Member Seal?
Lower than them. That was a good fight.
Yeah. Well, no, that's you. You called it comp.
800.
Just
I'm
like,
not thinking.
go
Oh my
discard
god.
it. We went over this
800.
once,
Not lower.
Tactics versus strategy.
Yeah, you know the meta better. You know. Yeah.
What do you?
I hate you.
Pocket widow.
Big daddy pocket. Alright, hook shot.
Let's go, son.
Don't waste your cooldowns here.
Right side.
This map has such great sightlines for Widow that you don't really always need to pocket your Widow on this map. I'm curious to see how it ends for you guys, but oftentimes you actually need that second support to help you apply point pressure so that your Widow can get sightlines.
Nice, there it is.
I got this. Huge support play, my
Monkey's low, monkey's low.
Where's her Anna?
She's right side. Oh,
I would love to know too, if in these scrims, why your team went into them. If you guys went in to improve or test a specific strategy, or what exactly. Because, I mean, playing against a team that's 800 SR higher than you, you're going to have one of the best opportunities to improve. And I'm glad to see that you guys have left your Widow, because you needed that Mercy on point more than that Widow needed damage boost.
Tracer right side.
Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? She's near mega room, right? Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Come back a little. Here. On me, on me, on me.
I would love to see your Widow wait just a second more for the sites. You know that the fight is still going on. Oh, well, the fight is over and people are still respawning. And so half of your sites, 3/4, all of them, it looks like actually, are gone before the enemy team even pushed.
You see me?
Yeah. I'm blocked.
Big blade.
Diva on me, Diva on me.
Huge peel mason. Back up. Nice.
Tracer half, in main. Coming towards you, Genji. Nice, nice, nice.
Holy shit, I'm a fucking insane mercy. Alright, Paul, reposition. Where are you?
I was trying to kill.
Damage.
Widow on
Because you're on you have a whole team, I would love to hear you talking about how the next fight's gonna go. I heard you guys last fight say that you had Blade, but if you're not thinking about your enemy's moves too, you're going to lose.
No flash, no flash.
If you only think about what you guys can do and not your enemies, then that's actually worse than only thinking about what your enemies can do.
Fucking grapple, you pathetic.
Fuck you.
They use sleep dart.
I'm dead to McCree. I just needed to get mech back.
Yeah, if you did need to farm mech, which you did, you should have called for your Winston to be up there with you.
Camera's that?
No, that's bad. Just get out, Oh, you can. I don't think that's visible.
No, honestly.
No, this is definitely not winnable, so you're making the right call to get out.
Yeah.
Make sure your team knows and make sure you're doing it though. There's a big difference between just saying like, get out, and like, get the fuck out right now. Big difference. And you want to make sure that you're making those calls properly. It's the same thing where sometimes you're like, Diva, versus get Diva. Way different who's gonna actually target them.
I'm dropping.
Okay, you ready? Yeah, we go one Widow. Left side, come with me, Monkey, come with me.
So you said you go on Widow, but does your Monkey know where Widow is? Does your Genji know where Widow is?
1 HP.
Do you know where Widow is?
There you go.
Actually, wait, where's Diva? Where's Diva?
Diva was on me and Widow.
Let me daddy.
Monkey.
Primal for sure. Okay. Rook, I'm gonna
Realistically, your Genji did awesome at carrying this fight.
Get on point.
And 2 fights ago.
I'll be honest.
Which is fine, like it is a perfectly legitimate strategy to play as like nano blade farming.
Mason, come taxi me.
Taxi? What?
Taxi, let me boost you, you fucking.
Oh.
Fucking Pepe.
I can res. No, I can't. I'm out of range. My bad.
Lucia's gonna try and touch.
Come back, Genji.
Take a shot.
You've held your ult the entire game, and I'm not saying that you had the best opportunities to use it, but just
I ate it. Oh wait.
would prefer not to hold your ult the entire game.
Lucia's up.
Let me just on point. On point.
Nice. I mean, you played well at the very end here.
Hamster.
Rook, I need healing on the pillar.
Sec one.
Nice.
Daddy said
Pound.
Lucio. I'm okay with it.
like
Go swing here.
go straight to point.
Play Lucio.
It scares me that you're saying to go goat
You have to switch
when
off
your
Reaper.
biggest asset that entire round was your Genji.
Okay, go straight to point. Oh boy.
Fucking late.
Wait.
No bubble.
On his one.
So look at how you used your personal right here.
On his one.
Not in any danger, and you throw it.
On his one.
Thankfully, you did get charge out of it, but you shouldn't have. And there, I believe you meant to bubble your Ryan, and you just didn't, unfortunately. A little bit better bubble usage, and you would have had a better time there, though.
Go right.
Just follow Ethan.
Follow Ethan?
Follow Ethan, follow Ethan.
Same thing happened a couple times now. You or someone else has made a call, but the team has been doing something else, and then no one knows what to do. You gotta decide who's gonna be your in-game leader and who has the final say in calls,
I think we need to
and you
change
need to make that final say in calls.
Okay,
Their Hans is too far to first.
Yeah.
I think we get that.
Go Anna, Luke Anna.
Do you stay?
No, he went Hanzo. Dragon room.
What about the Hans?
Shooting?
I agree with bringing the Genji back. Your Genji was your strongest asset last game.
Go point, go point, go point.
I need to collect this.
Oh, that was a miss bubble.
I'm off. No, I'm good.
I want to see where you first used your projected. Same thing. You bubbled your Ryan when he wasn't in danger at all. So, like, just randomly throwing that bubble there is scary.
Go point, go point.
Because then now, like, when your Ryan is actually in danger, or when he was, like, pushing up on them,
That was a miss bubble.
you didn't have the bubbles that you needed. Even if right here you didn't have the miss bubble, if you would have bubbled your Ryan,
That was a miss bubble.
it was still a second too early, and he may have gotten charged still.
Nice. Good. Regroup.
We
Oh, yeah, beat
need
for
to
the
wa- if we
I think. Hold up. Wait, I think we.
do I beat or grab?
Over here.
This is, I think, the first time that your team has talked about what they are going to do, which I love.
If they grab,
Grab drag. So I think we. We're not gonna have grab dragon. So I think we slam.
Slam them.
Again, you kind of bubbled yourself when you weren't in any danger at all,
What? I thought I didn't.
and then you bubbled no one in the grav.
Hey,
I got
we
anti.
gotta
Oh, you
regroup.
got anti.
Got anti. Didn't get it off.
What? I thought I didn't get the
I
beat.
did it too. Fuck, kidding me, dude.
Wait,
Yeah, the
what?
beat didn't
I
go
thought
off.
One fight there.
Grab dragon the two.
They're fucking 2, 1.
Bubbled your Ryan again when he was in no danger at all. So when you're on Zarya, I mean, your bubbles are really what makes you special. Otherwise, you're just a DPS with slightly higher health. You gotta be using your bubbles to mitigate damage to your team.
Yo, keep me alive.
No, that's it. That's
Good fuck.
If you would have thrown your bubbles better, you would have won that.
Be gone or something.
Action.
Oh. Sports. Our main
Take
Tate. My point is, except for
William.
Luke. My point is, there's nobody we can sub Tate in for.
7. What you
Go to the one.
Let's call.
I think I get more value if I'm playing split.
This is an interesting comp. Similar ones have worked extremely well. It's just always surprising not to see a Ryan Zarya on this map.
We're setting up near you.
Play this.
Shield. Okay.
Alright, no Widow.
Yet.
So, I would assume you guys have already talked about it, but my hope would be if this is the comp that you want to play, when things start going bad, your whole team is going to rotate to the right. Now we can actually find some use in this. Hold on. Okay. So we've got the point, which roughly extends a little bit before the car. Right here to here. Right? So your team is currently holding up here. Ideally, once you start losing, or once they start applying point pressure, I'm hoping that you guys rotate over here, throw the shield in the same spot, and then you can pressure the point, and your team can do enough damage. Ideally, your Widow would go up here, or over here, so that she can apply damage from a different angle, and you guys could have a really strong defense. Especially because they're probably going to play Ryan Zarya for the first attack at least, so you can basically cheese the first attack. So I'm really hoping this is how it goes, and I wish that I could leave this drawing so that we could come right back to it. But we're gonna see how it actually goes. Maybe that is how it goes. I hope so.
I don't see
They're swinging the chandelier in the spawn. I think they have a way to.
Ryan just heard they're coming up top. They're coming up top.
Ah, he's in my trap.
One's one. Nice.
Got Ryan.
Yep. So Ryan Zarya, and you guys had no concerns.
You go hard.
Or Ryan Diva.
Discord?
Okay, Brig's still over there.
Yeah, I think Diva, you go first. I'm moving in.
Yeah, she's getting healed. She's getting healed. She's getting healed. Back up.
Will,
Okay, what about
William, William,
I
when you
used
made the-
boosters.
the different types of goats. What's the weakness to Zen goats?
Then, probably, I don't know, I think.
Okay, here they come. Here they come. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up.
Here,
Actually, Mason, call. Mason, what do you say?
Wait, do you want us to back up? We can back up if you want.
They're gonna jump across and murder us.
yeah, they're gonna wait for speed boost and then jump across.
We back up. Ryan Discord. Diva?
Yeah. So at least you guys started rotating in enough time, but that was risky.
I can keep charging up the Zarya as long as we kill her.
Alright, back.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop.
Yeah, okay. You should have been flying ideally back up though,
Keep me
to
alive,
get
keep
to
me alive,
600 and drop back on the point.
You got
Because
healers.
when you started flying, I think that you were at like 350, 400.
I can keep charging up the Zarya as long as we kill her.
Alright, back.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop.
So yeah, you were at 350-ish, and you flew around the point and nothing else.
Brig. Keep me alive.
Brig's one.
You got to heal me, Mercy.
Hey, Risa, you're next. Risa, touch. Risa, touch.
Risa, you drop. Risa, I have trans food, you drop. Risa, now.
You just ended up throwing trance when you were already down 3.
That's so fucking funny.
Do we go dive or? No. Do we go Ryan Zarya?
Right, are we doing Ryan Zarya?
Or call it. We have to switch quick.
I'm going Farah.
This is what I've mentioned it before, but I truly feel like you guys don't have a main in-game leader.
Someone had
You needed to make that call sooner.
I'm just doing farms here.
Oh, they have a. No, not anymore. They had a D-Mech Diva.
I'm gonna go get a fat dynamite.
Diva orb.
If they want to run Ryan Diva, as stereotypical it is on this map, just run Ryan Zarya and walk into them.
Kill Rat.
huge block.
Good luck.
So did you see how you actually got your team grabbed here? So you fly into the Rhine, which wasn't going to benefit very much anyway because he was still full health. You weren't going to kill him.
Huge block.
And then they were able to grab your team literally while you had your back turned.
Focus Ryan.
Ryan discorded. Ryan orb. Focus.
Heals.
Zarya orb.
And you flew into them
Focus
again.
Zarya low, right
It's
side.
just,
On mini.
I would really want you to look at your cooldowns and how you're using them right now, and I bet you'd start climbing them.
Low. I need.
That's like the #1 issue I've seen. You should be, trying to use your cooldowns to outplay your enemy and to counter specific abilities. And that's not something that I always say to the gold plat players, which is more so your SR. But in Masters, you definitely need to be, and you're playing against a Masters team. So I'm going to treat you like a Masters player.
Diva D-Mech.
Especially because you guys are holding your own against a Masters team. That was an excellent bomb. When you saw the Rhine charge, I would have thrown it that very second.
Lucio. Nice. We overrolled there.
Okay, in future we need to kill that Zarya because she has high energy.
#1 thing too, big thing, make sure you're hitting tab more, talking about their comp more. Did you just notice like the Brig went Ash? And okay, so now someone on your team mentioned it, but that's going to be a huge difference in how you guys play. Whether or not they have a Brig or an Ash, especially with a Farah.
Ash now.
Ryan's burning.
Ryan discorded. Oh, he got
Our
orb.
supports are Lucio and Zen. We need to max.
So I love that you're hitting tab, but does your team know? There you go.
That's really unfortunate. You should be in that Mason. Sorry, bro.
I tried.
I agree, you should have eaten the Fire Strike.
He was around the corner.
If you can res me, that's cool.
Lucio and
So realistically, was he?
Lucio and Zen
No.
Lucio and sorry, Zen. They have
So we can see and track this fire strike the entire time. Oh, I didn't even realize it was a Twitch video.
Lucio and
Oh, I wasn't thinking. But yeah, there's the fire strike. Still coming. You can see how low.
sorry, Zen.
It hits you and you DM afterwards.
Zen.
That's really unfortunate. You should be in that Mason. Sorry, bro.
I tried.
Everyone makes mistakes, like it's no big deal. But you know, for reviewing you to improve, I'm gonna point stuff like that out. And I don't know why you rotated to the left side there. You basically fed alts just for fun. Yes, you can fly out of bad situations. But like, what would you do if they stole the brig and as soon as you started flying, they stunned you? When your whole team went right and you were with your team, you should have just gone right with them.
They're all one in the back. All one in the back.
Mine is low.
I got anti.
And that anti,
Run.
like, did we even know? It was a very chaotic fight. So did we even know, like, where the Ana was here?
Mine is low.
Because
I got anti.
the Ana was actually right in front of you when you got antied. So she is chilling right over here the whole time. Okay? So, she's still right here.
All one in the back. All one in the back.
Still right here, right behind the shield. You're going to see her in 2 seconds. When you just got antied, you were facing the right direction. If you just would have been DMing, you would have eaten the anti. So there she is, still just chilling.
Mine is low.
I got anti. Run.
Sorry.
Yo, Ash.
You just left the payload. There was a diva on it.
Wait, we see 9? Did everyone die?
You were the only one left on point.
Were you probably going to win against the full health diva in the Ash? Probably not.
I guess not.
But if you would have stayed on the payload, you at least could have had a better time, delayed them by a second. So right here,
Yo, Ash.
everyone's dead now. Everyone is dead. Dead. And it's Ash and a diva remeching behind you.
Yo, Ash.
And you fly for the Ash and the diva remechs on the payload.
Wait, we see 9? Did everyone die?
You were the only one left on point.
I guess. And then,
I have bomb.
Go bomb and then I'll boop right up.
And again, you've been holding your bomb.
Ethan, you pushed too far.
I don't actually think you held it too long. I think you just got it a little bit ago. You've lost this fight though.
9 low.
Bomb.
You're down 3. And you bombed
Yo, Zarya low. Nice.
and threw Bob
Winnable.
while down 3.
Help Bob. I'm speed boosting Bob in, dude.
Does speed boost actually affect Bob? That's hilarious.
Big shield.
Alright, don't overextend.
Alright, can you guys give me that Zen's position? I'm gonna try to kill them.
Can somebody link Cole to my stream so that he knows how to play Lucio in future?
Omega low.
The Kappa.
So watch your DM here.
Kappa.
8 nothing but spam. 8 a fire strike. And 8 nothing but spam. So your DM and 8 nothing but spam. Your DM was about half that entire time when you know their Zarya has Grav. Making it, and then you just DM like randomly when you're flying away. DM and bubbles, if you get good at those, you'll probably get to masters with those alone. You could probably never touch your other diva abilities.
The Bob is shooting at each other, dude.
Battle of the Bobs.
Sorry, I'm just gonna nano you.
So You ate nothing there. Ate nothing there.
Big anti.
Shattered.
I got shattered. This one.
So you should be calling for like a die on point right now. You guys have clearly lost this, and so you don't want to give them any
Gotta be
space.
decisive. Yeah, there it is. I can't watch you.
Twice in a row.
You're gonna have to touch the point, McCree.
I don't think
The Naxter.
Yes.
I mean, sorry, I
I go. Just
that makes
Tell.
Mason,
Right here.
we all go.
Oh, I got one. Do it now, do it now.
Right, Mason?
3.
Alright, do it now, do it now. No, they're right here, they're here. I got one.
Nope, nope.
Good. We all got one.
Yeah, so you saw that there was May, and it almost felt like you didn't realize you were gonna get walled.
Low.
Bubble and two, bubble and two.
I got that. Okay. Well, their Zen is gonna take a while to get back.
So now I want to hear your team talking about what you're gonna do next time. Like, are you going to go solo and get walled and then fly?
Alright, we're all here.
Are you guys gonna speed boost
No,
together?
I'm not a mech.
Forced ice block. Man, no ice block. Big wall. Nice, nice.
Okay,
nice.
waste. Let's
You're
waste, let's
lucky
waste.
she wasted it. Your team didn't have any plan to waste it.
Run low, run low, run low, run
And then you DM'd that whole time you were flying in, and you had no DM to save your Rhine. You didn't even block anything when you were flying in.
I'm remaking.
So right here, DM,
run low, run low.
you ate one fire strike that whole time.
You can't charge in like that, dude, especially when you're low health. Run down, run down, run down.
Trader runs. We trader runs.
Okay, wait, this is winnable,
Oh, they're.
Oh, Zen.
No one else on your team even knows where the Zen is. Think about who's on your comp. No one could help you. They didn't rotate with
I'm
you.
going, okay.
Big skill ball. Big skill ball.
Right here.
Good.
Go big, big. Oh, no. Big wall.
Baited it.
Did you bait it? And that was that your guys' plan? I'm happy.
Baited it.
Nice.
Wait.
I got trans.
Alright, I'm speeding once the wall goes down.
Okay,
3,
go, 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 go.
2.
It's down.
And your team doesn't even have to wait. If you want to wait for that wall, that's a choice, but they're going to get a wall back sooner. Why don't you guys just go ahead and... It was really nice speed on the Diva Bomb for what you guys were trying to do. Why don't you guys just go ahead and break one of the pillars and walk through?
Oh, what?
Oh, we shouldn't have
Zen. Okay, nice. Force trans.
Fine. Focus to. Call targets. Call targets.
behind us.
Okay, yeah, break.
And you DM'd a Brig,
Okay, we just gotta get out.
and then you DM'd nothing. And then you got out of mech.
I needed that shield.
You needed to use your DM a little bit better and you would have been just fine.
Okay, we just gotta get out.
So you DM'd literally nothing
break.
here.
Okay,
So you're at half. Well, now you're at like 3/4. And you DM'd Lucio shots there.
I needed that shield.
Okay, wall. No wall. No wall.
Rally.
Are we still done mech, Mason?
Yeah, I'm not in mech.
Okay, I have grab coming up. I have grab. I have
Okay,
grab.
I got mech.
May right.
Your Zarya literally just farmed her grab twice as fast as you farmed your bomb, which might be something to consider, like why that happened. And then also this May just looked at the floor and threw her ult from the second she walked out of this grab. She's just staring at the floor. You could have eaten that in your sleep.
Okay, I say we switch.
Alright, can I go? I'll go
Go
far.
Go far.
I'm dead.
Let me go Mercy.
Your Hog was definitely your strongest off tank. You definitely need to look at your
I got
bubble
Zarya,
usage on your Zarya and your defense matrix usage on your Diva.
In the pocket, you fucking flat ass.
Thank you. That makes me feel good.
I'm gonna get
Yeah,
some
wait.
iron. Focus shield.
Here, go, Ethan.
They're all burning. All burning.
You bubbled your Ryan like while they were shattered,
Oh, he was waiting for
so it didn't even like help you.
Janty. Zarya.
And you bubbled yourself from a fire strike.
Shoot Ryan.
Think about really when you're bubbling. Staying on 0 charge for a second is better if you can block damage than being on 20, 30, 40 charge, but you didn't block anything important.
Alright, we got one last.
You have one last if someone touches, so you need to be talking about who's going to touch. So you bubbled walking in, which did nothing for you, and I don't think you touched it 3 seconds. No, you were dead before 3 seconds.
We got wrecked.
You're Zarya and your Diva right now. So what did you say exactly? I think I need to improve on medical. So there's composition, awareness, Zarya, defensive positioning. Okay. Yes, but it is not even close to your biggest problem. This is 100% true. Your team needs an in-game leader. Awareness, yes, but more so, you know, honestly, awareness can stay as long as you're using it the right way. Not awareness like, oh, I'm being flanked. Awareness like, when the hell do I use my bubbles? What is my team about to do? What is the enemy team about to do? And how do I counter that with my abilities? That is so important. Zarya, and you'll be doing great. And defense matrix, and you'll be doing great. It'll literally be like you're a whole new player if you just focus on these. That's why I honestly think you can forget this, and then you can forget really all of this because this isn't even relevant, and even this. Zarya bubbles, Diva defense matrix, and you will climb 110%. You gotta be blocking abilities with your abilities on those heroes. That's basically what you do. Your main tank takes that space, and then you allow them to hold that space, / you hold that space yourself by using your abilities. Currently you're blocking like random spam with this, and currently you're just getting charged with these. You need to be using these to like save your Ryan from a pin, save your team from a shatter, use them in a grab so that your Lucio can drop his sound barrier. And you need to be using this to like eat anti-grenades, try and eat Mei alts, try and eat Zarya alts, and you will be a whole new player. So I'd really love to see you and your team focus on that. As far as your team overall, biggest thing is get a shot caller and focus on your strengths. I don't think you guys are as strong as on goats as you are on 222, which can be tough, but you don't need to run goats every single map. Have Riptide on that Genji, and I think that you guys would be doing better. Other than that, I wish you guys best of luck on your climb, and I hope you're enjoying your time as an off tank.